Hail travelers, and welcome to a brief aside with the Knight's Realm. Here in this short-form series, I take short topics that aren't particularly relevant to my wider content, but that I do feel passionate about, and expound upon them in my typical analytical fashion. In this brief aside, I want to sum up what a plot hole is, and the difference between a plot hole, a plot convenience, and an open plot point. Now, I am a writer. Not only do I write the scripts for my videos, but I am actually in the process of writing a book. As such, I am rather familiar with writing terms like plot holes or conveniences or contrivances. Unfortunately, not everyone is as knowledgeable about such things, and the term plot hole especially has a tendency to be thrown around a lot in media discourse, and thrown around incorrectly at that. So, in this video, I'd like to define what these terms actually mean. First, plot holes. A plot hole is a contradiction in established lore or continuity, or a plot point that makes little to no sense in the story as is. An example of a plot hole would be the timeline of Megatron and Sentinel Prime's arrivals on Earth in the original Dark of the Moon film. The timeline of the original films begins with Megatron and the Allspark landing on Earth 10,000 years ago. At around the same time, give or take a couple centuries, the Fallen is terrorizing Stone Age-era humanity. Wait. But Optimus was the last Prime, right? So are we just supposed to accept that he existed at the same time as the other Primes, and his lastness is just him being the only one left? Okay, so then why do the ancient Primes call Optimus their descendant, not their brother? And if the Fallen was on Earth at that time, why didn't he just claim the Allspark for himself, or wake up Megatron? And this is supposed to be when the Fallen became the Fallen, so when would Megatron have had time to become his servant if he wasn't already frozen in ice? And did Sentinel just wait for 10,000 years before enacting the scheme he and Megatron came up with, or did his ship just drift in space for thousands of years until it accidentally crash-landed on the moon of the planet that Megatron, the Allspark, and the Fallen all just so happened to be located on or near in the 1960s? These questions do not have satisfying answers as presented in the text, whether explicitly or implicitly, and thus are holes in the plot, or plot holes. The last question may lean a bit more into a plot contrivance, which is like a convenience, but worse. As in, you'd have to squint to make it work. Square peg, round hole, all that jazz. So less hole, more just stupidly contrived. Like Rey's entire story in the sequels. A plot convenience is when something happens that isn't impossible, but it is somewhat lucky or unlikely. This is something like the magic ring Bilbo Baggins just happened to discover after falling into a random hole while being chased by goblins, after being randomly inducted into an adventure by a wizard, just so happening to be the single most important ring in history and the main focus of an entire future trilogy. It's awfully convenient. Now, most stories use conveniences, so this isn't an issue. A problem only arises when too many conveniences are used back-to-back, and remained unexplained by something like prophecy or destiny or the Force or whatever. And an open plot point, the final one, is a plot point or question that has yet to be resolved. This is something like Darth Vader's fate being unknown at the end of A New Hope. It is not a plot hole that the rebels didn't acknowledge his survival or hunt him down, as his fate played a massive role in the second film, as he was, the main source of conflict, the main antagonist of that film. So now we know the difference between these things. If it messes the story up in retrospect and has no satisfying solution, it is a plot hole. If it is lucky or unlikely that a certain event occurs but not impossible, it is a plot convenience. And if it is something that has yet to be resolved, it is an open plot point. The reason I bring this up is because in the comments section of my last video, someone suggested that the destruction of the Nemesis and Stratosphere is a plot hole because I didn't mention any humans seeing it. Here's the problem with that argument. The movie was over. There was no time within that rewrite to resolve anyone who may or may not have seen it, especially since the film was told almost exclusively from the perspective of the Autobots and the Decepticons, not random Egyptian civilians. So when would that being seen have even been mentioned? Answer, in the next movie, thus making it an open plot point. And even if I did never address it in the future, it would be a plot convenience, not whole, as yes, it would be unlikely that no one noticed it, even from a distance, but not impossible. I'd even admit it crosses the border into a contrivance, so it'd be incredibly stupid, but still not a plot hole. Humans aren't always very observant creatures, after all. Considering the effort Soundwave and Megatron took to keep people away from the plateau, it is completely possible, though not plausible, that no one saw it. Of course, I did not plan to ignore that plot point, and it's actually going to be very important to the plot of the next rewrite. But I thought I'd take this chance to remind people that words have meanings. The term plot hole has been misused for a long time in media criticism, and unfortunately those who are less knowledgeable about writing terms have a tendency to latch on to misused terms and throw them around willy-nilly. To note, I am 100% sure that not everything in my rewrites is airtight. There is bound to be some objective criticism of my work somewhere. I've probably missed something in my analyses or rewrites. I'm only human, after all. And I'm a one-man show. Writing, proofreading, editing, voiceover, planning, outlining, research, it's all me. It's honestly a miracle that I've gotten this far without losing my sanity. As such, any genuine and accurate criticism of my work is more than welcome. So long as it isn't, hostile. However, any inaccurate or unfounded criticism I will fight back against. If you're going to critique me, please do it accurately and respectfully. Well, that is all for this brief aside. I will see you all on our next adventure, whenever that may be.
To have survived that Megatron.
The strong survive, the weak perish.
Lord Megatron, the ship's reactor core is failing. Explosion imminent.
Move, Decepticons! Double time!
The core's about to detonate!
Okay.
Go, go, go!
It's falling apart! Watch out! Megatron, this way! Over here!
So much for that guy.
I am Starscream, and I have protected my station for over 1,000 years.
I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. This space station is Decepticon property. Surrender immediately.
Whoever you are, you've traveled a long way just to meet your doom.
Perfect.
Hail, Lord Megatron!
taken as spoken to.
Kind of rude.
It's Lord Megatron!
The honor is all yours.
Take out those sentry guns! They're tearing us apart! Hate those sentry guns!